Hi everybody, Carlin here, and today I am going to make a vase. Sounds kind of boring, but I am really excited about it. This week I was walking around in my garden because it is springtime and my daffodils have started to grow. And daffodils are my absolute favorite flower, and they have inspired me to make this vase. So I'm going to take this clay, and I've already rolled it out so that it was dry enough so that I could work with it and wouldn't just flop over. And I'm going to put some daffodils on the side of my vase. I don't know if it's going to turn out. I don't know what it's going to look like because one, I'm not a sculptor. Two, I'm not, um, I like to create things, but I'm not necessarily the best at executing my plan. So I'm just going to go with it and we're going to see what we have at the end. Let's get started and let's make some daffodils. So I made this entire vase, and when I went to go look at the video, I realized that the majority of what I did not have in the frame. So I did have another vase thrown, another cylinder vase. Yes, I'm going to try to recreate this so that you can actually see what I did. And yeah, let's get started. So the first thing I did on this vase was create a stem. So that's what I'm going to do with this one. And all I did was use a needle tool and let's just and I'm just going to smooth out the edges so they're not so harsh. And I intentionally gave it this little curve because lots of times daffodil stems do curve at the top. So then you just want to take something to score. So I have my little tool here. What I'm going to do is just place it on where I want it. And kind of outline it. And then you just want to score the back of this as well. And just take your slip and place it on. I am generous with slip. Then you just want to push it down. Make sure you have a good connection. I do let that slip sit just for a minute. Then I'm just going to kind of carve out the excess on my stem here. So give it a little bit more of a rounded feel. And then definitely want to thin out the base here because your flower will be going on there. Okay, so once that's sat for a minute, just go in with your brush and just really push that slip right into the edge so that it has a good connection and everything. There won't be any cracks or anything like that, hopefully. And then you can take your finger and you can just really smooth this edge out too. Okay, so once you have that smoothed out to your liking, let's put that to the side for now. So then you want to start making your petals. Now, daffodils have anywhere from 5 to 7 petals, the generic daffodil petal that you're thinking of when you think of daffodils. So I'm just going to take my clay and carve out some pieces. Some are going to be bigger. Some might be a little bit smaller. Probably going to go for the 7 so that it is pretty much identical to the one that I did before. And I'm just kind of making them whatever size. I'm not really, a couple of them I might make similar, but I'm not really worried about the sizing because I like to make all my petals just be a little bit different. Okay. So I'm just going to give this little spritz and I'm going to cover it up. Okay. So you just want to take the water and smooth out your edges. Then you want to put the petal kind of in between your fingers here and just start to like flatten it out and push it down. And just keep wetting your finger. Now, this petal is a little, I might keep it. I might keep it. It's a little bit big for a daffodil petal, but I might keep it. So just keep flattening it out until it gets to be about the shape or size that you want it. And you can flip it around and do the tip. And then you have a petal-like shape. So you just want to go ahead and do that with all of them. And this clay is leather hard, so it has been sitting, just like I said in the beginning of the video, but then I realized you can't actually see what I'm doing. I promise I'll get better at the videoing or the angles. And the more realistic you want it to look, just keep in mind of how an actual petal looks, that they're not always perfectly shaped. And you can always go like this one, I probably will cut the end off of it. And they do get kind of slippery, so just watch that. And you may get these little tears. This clay may just be a touch too dry. But just like cutting the end off, you can also go ahead and just trim your side and just kind of start over. Clay is very forgiving in that nature because you can manipulate it for quite a while. And some petals obviously are going to look nicer than others, but depending on how your placement goes, they're almost sometimes needed to have like what I just did, kind of a wonky looking shape. So that everything kind of evens itself out with the bigger, fatter petals compared to the smaller, thinner petals. So then the next thing you want to do, because daffodils have quite a few like folds and creases in their petals, is I like to just take my needle tool and kind of like carve into the petal. Kind of just follow where your creases already are. So create just like little divot kind of things. And then once you've done that, kind of manipulate your petal a bit. Don't go too crazy because you did just carve into a thin piece, but just manipulate it a little bit. Then you just want to take a little bit of water and go over those bits and pieces. It smooths it out, but then it also, and then if you need to, just kind of go back in to really define those shapes. Don't carve too deep because then you'll go right through your petal, and you don't want that either. But we'll worry about the back later. But there you have, and you should have a nice petal. So then just do all of that for all of them. Now this isn't going to be the most realistic looking daffodil, but you'll get the idea of what it is. So now I'm just going to kind of arrange these kind of how I want them because I have to make the middle. And I need to know how big to make said middle. Daffodils kind of have like a little weird thing in the middle of them. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the base and the stamens. Then I'm going to make the... No, I can't really do that because the other base needs to kind of form. Okay, we're just going to go with this. What I'm going to do... So what I did on the first one was I kind of scalloped the edges, and I'm going to do that again, but I'm going to soften them a bit. So they're a little bit more rounded and not quite as harsh. And then, like I did on the other one, well, you didn't see it, but I'm just pulling kind of like how I did with the petals. I'm just pulling from the middle outwards so that it kind of bows in here. And I'm thinning it out and leaving the base or the top a little bit bigger. And I'm doing that because I want to make it go like this. And then when I do that, I'm going to make it turn. I don't think that makes any sense, but so then I just measured it, and I'm going to do a little bit bigger than what I need it. And just score your edges. Throw some slip or water or whatever you're using. Push your pieces together. This one is the hardest piece to get together and to get it looking decent. But you can use a wooden tool that I find can help not necessarily stretch the clay, but it'll smooth the clay better than your fingers can. And I'm not too worried about how this looks because I am going to throw some texture on here. Plus, now I'm going to take it and I'm going to bend it outwards. Whoops. Okay, so I'm also going to fix how this looks because I don't like it. So I'm going to just cut some pieces. You can smooth these out later, but just so you get a little bit better shape. So you just want to kind of get it fanned out. And it doesn't look like much now, but I promise it'll look better in a minute. So then you just want to make sure all your joins are good. Throw some extra slip in there if you need. Have any cracks? So then what I like to do is just take your needle tool and create that ruffled kind of look. Okay, and then you also want to do that on the outside. But don't go too deep. Because you'll go right through. Because by the time you manipulate it and you change all of the way that it is, it definitely... Okay, there we go. So then that should fit right in there. So then now you want to put on the inside, and we'll worry about smoothing it out later when it gets a chance to sit for a bit. But you just want to hatch right here. Then you want to put on your slip. Again, be generous with your slip. And take your base. And press it on. You want to ensure that every piece of your base is stuck. Or every piece of the middle is stuck. Then you want to go in there and just tap in any slip. Make sure that there's slip everywhere. If you need more, get more. But just ensure that all of your slip is attached. And I would leave that slip that you can see in there, I would leave it just like that. So then now that you have your petals pretty much arranged, I would just start going, make sure that you pick your petals that have to go underneath to put them down first. Just because they go underneath, obviously. So then just hatch where you need. Same on your petals. I'm going to put my slip here. And then you just take your petal and press it in. Support from the back if you need. And then just again, just ensure all of the slip is around that join. And we can go in and we'll clean it up after. And then just keep working your way around. When you get to where the stem is, just make sure you hatch it really good. Again, lots of slip. Take your petal. This one I'm going... And you can always kind of give like a test, I guess, before you actually place them on. Oh, look at that. I may actually need another petal. I'm definitely going to cut that one off a little bit. So this one's just a little bit too long. I'm just going to give it a cut, a little trim. And I'm quickly going to make one more petal. I don't think it has to be a big petal, so okay. So we made our last petal. So again, just keep going through your piece and kind of like picking out where things can go. Okay. So then just keep attaching your petals. Okay. So now that you have all your pieces on, just go and where there is slip, just make sure it is all tucked in. There's no bulges. It looks nice. Go in behind all of your petals. Just ensure everything is connected and everything is nice and smooth. Make sure everything is well attached. Even the petals that touch each other, make sure that they're good and attached, but don't let them lose all their definition. Like you want to be able, like right here, you want to be able to see that there are two petals there, not just one. But you also want to make it so that it looks seamless between your joins here, between your middle and your petals. Okay. So then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clean my brush so it's got just water. And I'm just going to go through and I'm going to clean off all my petals, smooth all my edges, make sure my backs are nice, make sure that if there are any cracks or anything that I don't like on the petals, to just make sure that that's all gone. So on this petal right here, it does look kind of wonky. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to shave off this little edge here. I want to keep the definition, but I don't think I want it that thick. Yeah, that looks much better. We'll just create like a new edge. There, much better. So with the middle, I just want to go through and I just want to smooth it out. I want to make it look a little bit softer. I don't want to lose any of those marks that we made, but I just want to soften up the edges a bit. Okay. So now this is also the last time that you can pretty much move your petals. Because after this, they won't be moving too much. And just make sure that if you want to add any more definition or anything like that, that you do it right now. Because you won't have another chance. So I just went in and added just a couple more lines. Okay, so I think I like that. Now the last thing we're gonna, well, not the last thing. We're also gonna add another leaf because daffodils usually have another leaf. But I think we should add the stamens. This is my least favorite part because actually, This little piece I had cut out works perfect for a leaf, for the second leaf. So I think maybe we'll just add that right now. So this one is the same as the other one. Just going to carve it down a bit. Give it a little bit more of a rounded shape. Okay. So now I have to do the stamens. Okay, so now just put your piece to the side. What am I going to do? Okay, so I'm just going to add some more slip in here, right in the middle. And I'm going to make it look kind of messy, I guess. I don't want it to look perfect. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this isn't really realistic, but I'm not entirely sure how to make it look realistic with clay. I haven't got that far yet. I haven't figured that out yet. So all I'm going to do is take these little pieces, kind of smooth them out, and create like little kind of stamen-like pieces, because they'll have my fingerprints and everything like that on them. And they'll look like stamens. And hopefully they'll stick. Last ones didn't stick very well. And just kind of push them in there, just to ensure that they stick onto the slip. And yeah, they're just kind of, they're not really anything to describe. They're just a little piece of clay. Okay, so a daffodil has three. It looks kind of goofy, but I'm just going to go with the three. Now, the only thing is, no, they're stuck on there. Okay, so they're stuck in there, which is a good thing. So I'm just going to make sure that my petals are where I want them. There is our daffodil vase. So I realized once again that you couldn't actually see the finished piece because I was out of frame. Oops, shocker. But here she is in all her glory. I think she turned out beautifully. I'm excited that I have two of these. I wasn't planning on having two of them, but that's how it worked out. So I'll just paint them different. I do have daffodils that have pink in the center instead of yellow, and I have just traditional yellow ones. So maybe I'll do one yellow and one white and yellow. I'm not sure. We'll see if they both survive the kiln first. But yeah, so I'm just going to wrap this up and let it dry really well for at least 3 or 4 days before I uncover it and let it totally dry. But yeah, I'm really happy with how this turned out. So I will meet you back here in a few days. See you.